Hello, welcome back to MFM, the program navigation series. In the two previous videos, we used the key 0 to show all the master output buses and save those as a track template, and the key 1 to show all of the bass tracks and save those as a track template as well. I suggest you follow the videos in order, as quite a lot of programming to the action list is done in the first two videos that doesn't need to be repeated. Because we cleared up quite a lot of the actual programming to the action list, videos are going to get simpler to follow. Here I've imported the track template for the bass and for the output buses. So that's F1 and output on the MCU, or if you're on your keyboard, 1 and 0. You can see the cascade of the output tracks into the bass bus, into the music bus, finally into the master bus. In the first video where we made the output buses, I explained the routing for the drums, but since we're doing a video on drums, I'll just quickly recap on that again. All of your drum tracks sum into this track, the clean output bus. So all of them route there. From there, it's subrouted, pre-fader, means you can turn the fader up and down on the clean track and it doesn't affect the output. Pre-fader to the comp and drive out. Then post-fader to the kit out. On the compression track, add a compressor with a very short attack, long release, high ratio, ideal for parallel compression. On the drive track, same idea. A full wet mix of the saturation, whichever one you choose. I'm just using a tape saturation. So rather than having to open a plugin on a channel, use a rotary dial with some kind of up and down movement on the mouse, then switch that and go to the drive and open all that stuff. You're just doing this on 3 faders. Make the blend that you like the sound of. The track that's highlighted now, the kit out master, is the overall master going into the final master. All your music is going into this channel. All your drums are finishing there. You can blend those two into the master output bus. If you want to go on to automate this balance later on, it's easy to access volume automation, easier than plugin automation. Let's get programming this up so you can access a view of your drums at the push of a button. So I've created 22 drum tracks. This is a basic kind of recording layout that I would have. Use yours, copy mine, whichever way you want to do it. The common thing we're going to put between them is going to be created with a cycle action. So let's create this cycle action. Open your cycle action window, opposite click anywhere in the list, and it'll create a new cycle action. Type Console S with a capital C, space, capital S, star, and put the word kits in there, star at the end of that. Highlight all, copy, and return. Go over to right click here to add command, add, paste that, return, and then apply. That will now come up in the action list as something we can tie into a custom action. So you need to open your action list, go to new action, new custom action. This will all be blank. Just bear with me while I go and find the shortcut that I'm using, which is 2, and show you what we're going to program. So first of all, custom action name. Make sure you give it a name. The usual procedure, just type into the filter on the left. Arrange window main's a custom action we've already made, so type ARR and the custom action should come up at the top. Just drag it over and carry on down, type in show all tracks, so 3 letters from each word will give you that. Make sure it's exactly the action, drag it over, make sure they're in exactly the order. Quick run through of what is actually happening. Arrange window main, so like a clear the decks, unselect everything. Then we show all of the tracks in the track control panel, everything. Then we select the kits, anything with kits in the name, hide the other tracks. So we've only got tracks with kits in the name now. And then we select the clean out bus, which so happens to have kits in the name anyway, but master out bus doesn't. So it shows all of those cascading down as your tracks in order. We select all of those, vertically zoom, so those will now fill your window. Select the first of the selected tracks and scroll to the top. Those last 2 actions are really specifically for the controller, as I'll explain in a second. So OK that when you're happy with it. Add, give it the hotkey 2 on your main keyboard. To get it onto the controller with CSI, opposite click, copy selected action, command ID. You can close that down. Now open your Zon file, come down to F2, make sure you've got Reaper with a capital R typed before this, insert the action, a couple of spaces, a couple of forward slashes, and give it a name that does describe exactly what it does. Save that. You can hide that or close that. Don't forget to refresh all MIDI surfaces, press F2, nothing happened. Global view, the tracks are there. Don't panic. The simple reason is the cycle action is looking for the word kits. None of our tracks have the name kits in them. I'm going to use this track manipulation window to add a suffix, a few spaces, then kits, commit to that. All the tracks now have the word kits in them. If I press F1, that should be basses, so they shouldn't show up. They don't. F2, they should show up because that's the drums, or 2 on the keyboard. Let me show you how to access the name manipulation window. So open your action list, type manipulation in the filter. You'll only have 2 choices. You can see the hotkeys I've assigned to both of them there. They essentially just do the same thing. One just looks a little cooler than the other, which is this one. You can multiply access items and tracks like this and do quite a lot to the name. Anyway, we added a suffix and the suffix was kits. Now we need to save all of these tracks as a track template. So select them all, opposite click, templates, save as track template. I'm going to go into the drums folder I've made and I'm going to call this just drums, just the tracks. Not the buses, not the output buses, just the tracks. I'm going to delete this set of drum tracks and then re-import them from the template just to show it works. So opposite click in the TCP and go and find the correct template. And there we go. I'm also going to import the master output buses and route these drum tracks to it. At the moment these tracks are routed to Reaper's master, so highlight all the tracks, hold the Alt key, and if you click on that, that'll unroute them to Reaper's master. I've also stuck that on a button on the controller, it's quite handy. So now they're not going anywhere. And rather than bring the template in from a menu, I'll remind you that we'll be doing this on buttons eventually. It's a lot quicker. So as we said earlier, just route all of these tracks, select all of the drum recording tracks, opposite click on the in-out label and send it to the clean out bus, and the routing through the rest of the drum tracks is already pre-arranged. So we can see that all of our drum tracks going to the clean out bus there, and the drive and the comp out and the kit out bus were already pre-routed. I use the flip button on the MCU to toggle bypass the effects on any channel. Also Control B is the keyboard version of that. And now you can mix away with the drums, get the sound that you like, and balance up the output volume with the master out. And the hotkey 2 or F2 will show me all of the drum tracks and all of the drum buses and the outputs. See if you can program these 2 hotkeys without me walking you through this. So this set of commands is for Alt 2 to look at the drum tracks with only items or audio. And the one that it's just changed to is Command 2, and that'll just show you the drum buses. And next time we'll be looking at the acoustic guitars. If you have any problems with this, leave a message under the video. I'll respond to that, and thank you very much for watching.